Given the fact that much of the discussion, at least during advertising week, was that consumers hate ads, or they hate bad ads, whatever, and more people are trying out ad blockers. This is becoming a huge challenge. It's obvious, and it's a huge challenge on mobile. And the estimated loss of global revenue due to blocked ads in this year is coming to $21.8 billion and is expected to rise to $41.4 billion in 2016. So with that kind of dire prognostication, what do you think is the role of brand marketers in combating consumer aversion to ads and ad blocking? And what are each of you doing in your businesses to tackle this issue?
Go ahead.
I think brand marketers need to become storytellers. And storytellers with a purpose, not rainbows and unicorns, but really to engage audiences. And I think when you create content, whether it's about your products, about your brand, but do it in a spirit that you know that will resonate with your audience because there's a story. A lot of those stories are emotional. A lot of those emotional stories involve putting relatable people into the story so that customers will say, oh, that's like me. And then distributing that in a different way than reach and frequency. In the old days, we would say somebody needs to see my message 47 times before they'll take an action, and it was the same message. And we were in the era of 51st dates marketing. I forgot that I saw you before. I'm going to tell you the same thing I said then. I forgot that I saw you twice before. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you. And we actually had a name for that, right? And we were actually trying to optimize frequency of a message. Now it's a different thing. We have the opportunity through technology to tell episodic stories, to unfold more of our differentiated value proposition in a way that will resonate with an audience and create something that people crave. Now, the interesting challenge with ad blockers is, well, it's twofold. Everyone in here knows the numbers that 80% of digital engagement next year is going to be on a mobile device. And so this is a very real challenge for us in telling that story now, because the rails that I see the content being distributed on are essentially advertising rails. And now if content gets blocked because we've kind of shit the bed, pardon my expression, on advertising with consumers, we're going to have to find new pathways to market, whether it's native ads or whatever it is. But those should not be ads. That really should be something consumers want.
I definitely, I agree 100%, especially on the content piece. And we just need to figure out as marketers how to better deliver that content. And I think, it's truly understanding the customer journey. I think there's a lot of similarities in our brands. We talked, before the session just about kind of life moments, and it triggers the need for a different type of, card or whatever it is from Bank of America. For us, it's, you need a home phone service when you have a baby. You need to be reached. And so there is that emotional storytelling. And to, Lou's point, we have to understand that as brands, and we have to think of things more from the consumer's point of view versus the advertiser's point of view, because they have far more options than they ever had on how to engage with a brand and how to consume the media that we're trying to push to them. And that's why we need to be sensitive to that and create content that is valuable and deliver to them at that right moment.
So this whole issue of ad blocking really is kind of a clarion call. I mean, a wake-up call. You really have to take this seriously right now. Do you agree, by the way, with some of the dire projections about how much ad blocking will cost in terms of lost revenue?
I don't disagree with it, but I think it's very segment specific. In our case, we have, the gal who's buying home phone service from Vonage is, a 55-year-old white gal who watches Judge Judy. Her ability to, one, understand ad blocking and find it and turn it on is far, less of a concern for us than, when we talk about some of our small business efforts where we've got a very much more tech-savvy audience that we're speaking to who has, depending upon where they are on, different sites and such, a far greater chance that they're going to be blocking it. So I think it depends upon who the brand is and kind of the audience that you're speaking
And
to.
also millennials
Sure.
are more aggressive about trying out and using ad blockers.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of millennials watching Judge Judy.
Right.
I've been in this business more than 2 decades, and if I sat and thought about all the dire warnings about how cable is going to destroy advertising, how digital is going to destroy, there's always a dire warning. I think the industry generally figures it out. I think the difference this time is that to figure it out, we have to move away from the very construct of advertising. And I mean, I saw something in the press today that is an interesting and weird analogy. I kind of did a double take, and that is that the new editor-in-chief of Playboy magazine said that we are no longer going to feature nude women in our magazine. Like, that's a pretty big fundamental change for Playboy as a value proposition, right? And I'm not trying to be salacious, but that's exactly what we have to do in advertising. We have to get out of the advertising business. We have to get in the people business. We have to get in the content business, to get in the engagement business. We have to ultimately get in the relationship business. And when the people come after you, when your clients come after you about ROI, start talking about ROR, which is return on relationship, and start figuring out how to educate on that piece, because that, I think, is where the true value is in a longer term versus the short term of that transaction.